Today we have a wonderful announcement and a great future for the ABQ BioPark. So to provide that information, I'd like to introduce Mayor Richard J. Berry, and he will tell you all about it. Mayor?
Thanks. Dave, thanks a lot. Thanks. Well, welcome everybody. What a beautiful day. That's why we live here, right? We live in a beautiful city. And for those of you who don't work here and who haven't dedicated your lives to this, because all of you have, if you're new, if you're one of the folks visiting today, you're at the #1 attraction in the state of New Mexico. This is an absolute jewel. New Mexico is a wonderful and special place, but no place no more. Wait a minute, let me start that again. I should just read my script, shouldn't I? Yeah, we're a wonderful and unique place, but none more so than the Albuquerque BioPark, and that's not by accident. That has happened intentionally over decades with dedicated people who have dedicated their careers and lives to making this a place to be educated, a place to be entertained, a place to be a steward of the environment, a steward of animals and species that are endangered. So there's a lot of things that happen here that are really, really important. Not the least of which is our chance to come together as a community and sit underneath the beautiful cottonwood trees and listen to the music and just enjoy our friends and our families and our neighbors. So let me take you back 5 years. It's fine, you're working. I get it. 5 years ago, in 2011, I'd been mayor a couple of years, and my staff came to me and the leadership here and said, listen, it's time that we take a long-term look at the Albuquerque BioPark. And so we assembled a task force and included city staff and community members to look at the biopark's present needs, certainly, but also what's required to have a successful future and to make sure that this place stays great. One of the recommendations that came out of that task force was to embark on a new master plan for really encompassing the 4 facilities: the zoo, the aquarium, the botanical garden, and Tingley Beach. The most recent plan for those facilities and our facilities was created in the 1970s. So it had been since the 70s since we had done that. And it had been since 1991 that we had done that for the aquarium and the botanical garden. So in 2014, the task force presented the new BioPark master plan to our community. The master plan was developed with involvement from thousands of City of Albuquerque staff, BioPark staff, New Mexico BioPark Society members, the ABQ BioPark Advisory Board, and those that we serve, the members of the public, folks that get up every day and make Albuquerque their home. And there were several things that were put on the front burner, if you will. And there were several identified projects that our community can look forward to in the master plan. One of them was the penguin exhibit. It's a $10 million exhibit. We're hoping to get a good start on that and maybe even finish that while I'm the mayor of the city for the next year and a half. A seal and sea lion exhibit improvements, $8 million. A cats and Asia exhibit, $15 million of new space beyond the giraffes and elephants. And then, of course, we identified about $4 million of critical infrastructure needs. And this is what happens, and I'm a contractor by trade, and I talk about this all the time. It's great to build a new exhibit, but we have to take care of the infrastructure that we have. And there was $4 million of identified work related just to water, gas, and sewer lines. Not the sexiest of stuff, but it's not good when it doesn't work. And so we need to make those investments as well. So with the master plans, the residents of Albuquerque could start thinking about the future of this great place. And the document will direct the biopark's growth and development for the next about 20 years. So then, in October of last year, voters in Albuquerque, by a large margin, approved an 8-cent tax on GRT in the city of Albuquerque to fund these projects and to help implement this master plan. That tax revenue will bring in approximately, well, let's just say it, $250 million. $250 million over the next 15 to 20 years to this great facility. That is an enormous investment. And that speaks volumes about our community and how they care about this place and the animals that we care for and the science that's done here and the education that's done here and the stewardship and all of those things that I talked about earlier. And I don't think any of us that work here in the city should lose sight of what that means. It's a massive investment. So we want to thank the folks in Albuquerque for caring about this place. So along with the BioPark Society, we decided we needed to have a plan on how to implement that, and that's why we're here today. With the skill, we felt like we needed to bring someone in, or put someone in place. Didn't have to be somebody from the outside. As it turns out, this happens to be, and you'll meet the gentleman here in a minute. But we wanted an overarching. We changed the organizational structure a little bit to make sure that this $250 million investment had somebody that had experience needed to implement that, who had a long track record of doing that, and we're going to talk about more of that in a minute. So we did an international search to help drive this complex, multi-phase, multi-year capital improvement project. And I'm going to bring up Connie Beimer from the BioPark Society. Connie's going to give you a little bit more background, a little bit more information, and then we're going to introduce you to the gentleman that we brought on board to do this. So, Connie, you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the BioPark Society, we are so excited to have this partnership with the mayor and with the city of Albuquerque. We're just delighted. We're very excited about this announcement today, since we were involved last year with the initiative to generate the critically needed capital for the renewal and expansion of the biopark. We were also honored to be included in the search process that brought us J.T. Allen, who you'll meet in just a few minutes. But we have every confidence that he is the right person, and when we were reviewing his resume, he floated to the top when we were doing interviews over Skype, and then when we got to meet him in person, we were just delighted to have somebody of this caliber be interested and qualified for this position. So we look forward to supporting his position, supporting him and his agenda moving forward to help ensure these BioPark GRT funds are spent in the optimal way. And as you heard from the mayor, we've got a lot of exciting projects that are going to be coming up, and we've got the money now to be able to devote to those projects. We want to congratulate the mayor and the city for recognizing the importance of the BioPark to our quality of life here in our city, as well as the economic importance that the BioPark brings, and can effectively create the proper administrative structure to ensure the facility's success. The BioPark's master plan, as the mayor mentioned, was initiated by this administration using funds appropriated by the city council, and the results reflect input from thousands of citizens, and this is the culmination of that hard work. We have every reason to believe the BioPark will be the model nationally for truly world-class, multifaceted facilities. It will continue to be the facility that the citizens are so proud of, and a great place to visit and support. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Connie. And there's just no way that I can overstate the importance of the BioPark Society. Julie's here today. Where's Julie? Hey, Julie Rug is here today, Connie, and everybody in our advisory board. We have passionate people that care about this place, and quite frankly, as a mayor, I lean on them to coach me. We ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions as a mayor. I'm not an expert in what you do for a living. So I have to rely on folks that are, and that do this all day, every day. And so I really appreciate everything that the BioPark Society does. So now let's get on to introducing Mr. Allen. JT, come on up. I'm going to introduce you to James T. Allen. He goes by JT. Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you.
JT was selected out of a pool of 21 candidates. We had a lot of folks out there with a lot of experience. And JT, as Connie said, rose to the top. I'll give you a few basics here. He has over 29 years of experience and success in public works in federal and local and government sectors, including facility operations, maintenance, design, construction, and program management. He most recently was a senior director for Facility Modernization and the bond program implementation for the Denver public school systems. Previously, he was a regional construction director for the Los Angeles, California Unified School District. He is a retired United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel and Civil Engineer Officer. He is a graduate of the Air Force Academy, I believe.
Yes.
And most importantly, he's got a beautiful family. I'll tell you a story. I was down here the other night listening to the Noms, one of my favorite local bands. And Dana Feldman, our director, came up and said, JT's here with his family. They had, this is how excited he is. And he may, I don't want to tell the story, but it was in the evening. I think you left Denver in the morning and sold your cars and your house. And I mean, I'll let him tell the story, but he's really proven that he wants to do this work. And he's got a beautiful family. I got a chance to meet his wife, Elisa, his 25-year-old daughter, Mercedes, and his 23-year-old daughter, Alana. And they're just a wonderful family. And we're just glad to have him on board. And so I'm going to turn it over to JT to tell you about himself, what his thoughts are, and welcome aboard.
Thank you. Good afternoon. All right, you're there. That's good. Thank you, Mayor Richard Berry, for your leadership through the task force, the master plan, and to get us to where we are today. Thank you also to the BioPark Society, to Julie Miller-Root and Connie Weimer. Thank you so much for all you do for the society that supports this facility. And a special thank you right from the start goes to all the BioPark staff and volunteers. It's your hard work and dedication over the last few years and for some few decades that has made the Albuquerque BioPark the #1 destination in New Mexico. So just one moment, thank you. Personally, I'm honored and humbled to be the Chief Executive of the Albuquerque BioPark. With the work that has gone into the master plan, input from the public and from staff, and the investment in its future approved by the citizens, the BioPark is right on the verge to something even greater than what it is today. Once again, this is a great place, and it showcases and it's a place for education on the conservation of our animals and our plants. However, the BioPark Aquarium and Botanic Garden are 20 years old this year. The BioPark's Tinley Beach reopened in 2005. That was 11 years ago. And the BioPark Zoo turns 90 next year. They're all great, but yet they all have deferred maintenance needs. They all have plans through the master plan for new and exciting exhibits. And that master plan outlines what we should do over the next 20 years. My part in joining this great team is to get us all moving together, to bring the master plan into reality. High on my list is a listening tour. I want to listen to the stakeholders from the staff, the stakeholders from the public, and I want to hear what we do well and what we could do maybe a little bit better. And using the information from that listening tour, we can use that to enhance our execution of the master plan. I'm excited and I'm energized about this opportunity and to take this great institution and make it even greater, ensuring that it'll be cherished by us today and for decades into the future. My promise to you is to use my experience in civil engineering, construction, facilities, operations, and maintenance, and my leadership experience in leading people and leading programs to make the BioPark and all of Albuquerque even better than it is today. I hope to become familiar with all of you as in your faces as you frequent the BioPark more and more. So come and help me, and let's take a step together into the future of the Albuquerque BioPark. Thank you.
JT, thank you again, and welcome aboard, and welcome to your beautiful family, to this wonderful place. There's no place like Albuquerque. You will find that out, and it's going to be a great move for you and your family. I'm going to end with this, and then we'll do some questions and answers. We got some folks here, but it was nice. I'll tell you one thing. It was nice when the position came open, and the position was being interviewed for, and I wasn't in the initial interviews myself as a mayor. We had a team do that. Rob Perry, my CAO, Julie, the BioPark Society were heavily involved in that. And as we were talking about what qualifications we need for this position, the nice thing as a mayor was we didn't need somebody that was an excellent, I'll say the word wrong, we didn't need any more professionals in the world of zoology. We have professionals. We have wonderful people that know how to care and foster and work with animals. We have people that are great from the veterinary sciences all the way through botany and other things. This is about a bond program. This is about $250 million that's going to be used in the built environment. And JT, if you look at his resume closely, you will see he has got a tremendous amount of experience in the built environment. But the citizens of Albuquerque need to know that the professionalism in the staff is already here to take care of the animals. And I say that in a simplified way, but that's the best way I can say it. Before we open it up for questions and answers, I also want to thank Rick Janzer, who's here today. Rick has been with us. He'll be leaving the BioPark after 30 plus years. He's had a long and distinguished career here. And we'll do a little something for Rick down the road as it gets closer to his last day. But I want to personally thank Rick for coaching me as a mayor, for helping me, working with the AZA and others throughout our time. There's always more needs than there are resources. And so we're trying to be smart about how we allocate those resources in a way that matters. And I want to thank Rick personally for that. Thank you, Rick. So with that, I think I assume there's a press release with more details. Is that correct? If you don't have it, we'll be happy to answer any questions. The BioPark Society is here. I'm here. JT's here.
It's a brand new position, right? It's not coming in replacing anything. It's a brand new position.
Correct. No one's being replaced with this position. That is correct. This is a new position that kind of encompasses the entire the BioPark master plan, and heavily emphasizing the capital dollars and the investment that the taxpayers are going to make, and make sure those dollars are spent wisely, they're spent to the highest and best use, and that the citizens, most importantly, when they come down here over the next number of years, they can see where their dollars are going. Okay, somebody help me out. Title.
Chief Executive.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get to the. I'm sorry.
Chief Executive.
I'll let Rob answer the CEO, CAO stuff. Go ahead, Rob. You want to talk about that? Chief Executive.
Right. Of the BioPark, that's correct. The four facilities.
Chief Executive of the BioPark, of the ABQ BioPark, and it will be on the organizational chart working with the directors of the zoo, aquarium, botanical garden in Tingley Beach. So it's a new position. Yeah.
JT,
Yes.
first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
So, you understand your job is to, I guess, be a steward of this $250 million and maybe raise the bar and take this place from being great to even greater?
Great to greater, yes. I have been a steward and a servant of the community for a long time. Spent 23 years in the Air Force, serving that community of our whole nation. And I spent time also as a director with the Denver Public Schools, and before that with Los Angeles School System. So it's been a good run that I've had working for the citizens of a city and being a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars.
This may be a question maybe more for Mayor Barry too, but I think it's pretty widely known here that there have been some staffing cuts over the last 5 years. As I understand, there may be about 40 fewer employees working here just to maintain the zoo, but yet there's more animals, there's more acreage, and there is more coming. Obviously, the chief executive role is there to help look at and assess those needs, but sort of how do you address that concern that was also mentioned in the AZA accreditation there, that there is not enough staff working here to run day-to-day operations?
So I'll answer that. It's a little bit longer answer than you may want, but I have to go back and give you a little history. So I just came from the U.S. Conference of Mayors this weekend, so I talked to hundreds of mayors around the country, and there's not a single one of them that has every resource that they need to do everything that they want to do. A lot of zoos around the country have privatized for all intents and purposes. If you look at Henry Doorly Zoo in Omaha and others, and I've been to visit them personally because I'm interested in this in Albuquerque, there's lots and lots of different models out there. We've been through one of the worst recessions since the Great Depression. We had a $100 million shortfall to solve our first year in office. And it's not just here that we had to be austere. It's other places around the city of Albuquerque. Now, as the economy is improving, we've got our fiscal ship in order as a city. Now we're able to make some new investments. The taxpayers came out in large numbers and voted to invest in this place. But with that comes capital online. Capital coming online is kind of an inside baseball term for government. But that means if you build a new exhibit, you need somebody to take care of that new exhibit. So there will need to be, and we will continue in my last budget next year, to try to make those investments in the form of the most important asset we have, which is people. So like every city in the country, our folks have had to do more with less. And I'm proud of them, and they've done a hell of a job doing that. But when we sit down, whether it's with the AZA or with, and let's be on, let's say we just got reaccredited as a zoo. Other zoos around the country didn't, and that's not a testament to me as your mayor. That's a testament to every one of these people that are out here. That's a testament to the leadership behind me. So we'll continue to do what we can with the resources that we have. This has never lost its priority status, and we'll continue to make it a priority as we move forward. I mean, that's the honest answer that I can give you.
Mayor, a little off subject here. The U.S. House of Representatives Appropriations Committee has recommended a $15 million cut for the art project grant. And just this morning, the New Mexico Restaurant Association came out against the cut.
Different subject. I'll talk to you offline. Yes.
I have a question kind of regarding what he was talking about.
Yeah.
As far as we just did our AZA accreditation and staffing and things like that. Being here during the AZA accreditation, I know as far as the keeper staff goes and probably across the board with other people here in the park and different facilities, but we had so much overtime and we had so many people putting in overtime hours, which then makes us during our day-to-day procedures a little less safe when you're running on a little more empty than you usually are.
Right.
We have our nighttime events and things like that. And everyone pulled together and did a fantastic job. But why don't we, across the year, spend a little bit more money having the staffing year-round so that we can maintain where we should be at for accreditation versus pouring so many man-hours and so much fundage into
It's a great question.
overtime?
It's
Something that that's not my ballpark. Just like
No, but it's a great question, and it's a great question that we have in the police department, and a great question we have in the fire department and other departments. And so the way the budgeting process works, the leadership here brings forward white papers, if you will, and as Rob Perry, our CAO, who runs the budgeting process and goes through department by department with director by director, those things are brought up each and every year. And each and every year, decisions are made on how best to handle that. And I understand exactly what you're saying. Wouldn't it be better to have an extra staffer versus some of the overtime? I'll let Rob talk about that a little bit, but the short answer is each department has to make those decisions each and every year, and sometimes those decisions are based on staffing levels, sometimes they're based on appropriations levels, sometimes those are based on what the gross receipts tax revenues look like, what the prognosticators are telling us about where gross receipts taxes are going. As you know, we're a creature of gross receipts taxes. Some government entities are a creature of property tax, which tends to just kind of go up steadily over time. Gross receipts taxes go up and down. So we budget based on projections, and some of those decisions that have to be made are based on not building too much long-term overhead and then having a projection miss, and then you get yourself into a fiscal crisis like we got into when I took over, and then we had to, we cut pay across the board 2% because, quite frankly, the fiscal house wasn't in order at the time for the economic conditions that were in there. So it's a tough decision to make. Rob, you have anything else to add on that?
No, I think Mayor covered it basically. The city of Albuquerque has 19 different departments, and if you take solid waste, they clean up our medians, weeds and growth and things like that to make the city beautiful. But the reality is that they're not needed necessarily in the winter time. We have a lot of seasonal departments, and so we have to have the flexibility and the nimbleness to adjust. We try to set full-time staffing complements at a level which will accomplish the mission, provide for the program support, and also give us the ability to supplement with things like overtime, temporary employees, and the like. We're constantly adjusting that, and I think JT probably wants to hear some input from you folks on that, and it's difficult to understand. I mean, I think when you're all down here doing a job in the trenches, doing a great job of it, you look at it and say, well, you know, it would be nice if there was a couple, 3 extra positions for animal care or maintenance and the like. And that's true, but we do need the nimbleness and the flexibility so that we don't have to get in a situation where we're overspent. The state of New Mexico is a particularly good example. With their appropriations level and revenue right now, as you read the newspapers, and I've been reading in the last couple of weeks, they're contemplating letting people go. And so we don't want to be in a situation where we have to lay people off. We'd rather have some vehicles to provide flexibility and nimbleness. And that's one of the tools we use.
But where we're on the same page is we're listening, and we understand this, especially with the keepers and some of the stuff that came up with the last go-around. So it's a matter of trying to match resources as best we can with the needs. But it's never been a lack of interest. It's what every mayor in the country that I know is kind of going through.